According to the physical context, in Cuicuilco, a complex, diverse, and planned architecture was developed. The earliest representation of Huehuetl, the old god in charge of fire, have been found, and probably the first steps were taken in the creation of a calendar based on the observation of the movements of the sun. It is part of an urban center that developed over 800 years before Christ to 250 years after Christ, and then declined following several volcanic eruptions. The largest of them, the Xitle, that forced the Cuicuilcas to leave the place. The main structure of the ruins is the Pyramid of Cuicuilco, located in the center of the hill. This impressive pyramid has 5 levels and is 18 meters high. Its structure allowed that religious ceremonies and offerings were carried out at the base of the pyramid. The two access ramps to the east and the west are aligned with the equinoxes, as well as their central altars under different times. That specific architecture can be related with Teotihuacan's details that Vitruvius expressed on his book, saying that when a town discovers its landscape and establishes itself in it, it finds a place that is an echo of intimate sympathies, a place that resonates and tells important things. Both sides, Teotihuacan and Cuicuilco, can resonate more than one thing by themselves. Talking about nature, there is a great variety of medicinal plants and flowers that characterize the place, such as the cactus family, oreja de burro, mallitos, characterizing themselves by when blooming, they indicate the beginning of the rainy season. Also, there is a prairie ecosystem of grasses and bushes, with willows and ash trees. The fauna of the place is associated with grasshoppers, insects, butterflies, hummingbirds, and squirrels. Everything is related in this space, nature with context and people. And like Vitruvius said, people need to understand that nature and them are joined. Architecture goes hand in hand, never competes with nature. On the contrary, both care for each other. By that, architecture needs to respond to that, working in a way that the work doesn't disturb in any possibility the beauty of nature. We can compare what it has been said about Teotihuacan, Monte Albán, and Xochimilco with the site of Cuicuilco. Landscape is related with the world, making you feel part of the site, showing you a new experience without competing or disturbing it, and converting landscape into architecture.
The place can have a mild or cold weather depending on the zone. The average temperature in the south part are over 10 to 12 degrees Celsius, and in the higher parts of Tlalpan are lower of 8 degrees Celsius. Cuicuilco is located in the south of Mexico City, in Tlalpan. According to different studies of Pérez Campa, the pyramids have a west orientation, and this is synchronized with the summer solstice.
In the mid-pre-classic, settlements emerged in the area, which slowly evolved and grew, becoming villas, subsequently developing into a major civic ceremonial lunar center in the late pre-classic. As an urban center, Cuicuilco became very important, with an advanced and stratified society. Some experts theorize that the development of the site from its foundation was due to its strategic location near the Pass of Toluca and near the shores of Lake Texcoco. Under this perspective, although the place produced around 600 and 200 BC a new ceramic tradition, it's also evident that the region was configured by successive generations. Toward the late pre-classic period, Cuicuilco achieved the features of an urban regional center, with a population estimated at about 20,000 inhabitants. The decline began in the early 1st century BCE, with the rise of Teotihuacan as a center of cultural and religious influence. By the year 400 CE, the Xitle volcano erupted, burying and destroying what still remained of Cuicuilco and Copilco. This disaster led to the dispersion of Cuicuilco culture towards Toluca and Teotihuacan, which hosted a large part of the Cuicuilcas and incorporated many features of their culture. Today, it is a significant archaeological site that was occupied during the early formative Today, it is a significant archaeological site that was occupied during the early formative until its destruction in the late formative. Based on its date of occupation, Cuicuilco may be the oldest city in the Valley of Mexico.
Over time, the archaeological zone of Cuicuilco has influenced the way we behave and the way in which we make use of information that has been found. It has a great influence in our culture because it has some of the oldest monuments and the most important settlements. It is part of the essence of Mexico, mainly of Mexico City, since here have been representations of the old god of fire. Also, this civilization left important vestiges of the knowledge that they had on astronomy and architecture because its constructions have the great characteristic to be monumental. Also, here were born the first steps to create a calendar using the movement for the sun. In fact, thanks to the technology that is available today, satellite photographs were captured, allowing a better perspective of the Great Basement and said that it can be part of a solar marker. It was the first civilization located in the central highlands of Mesoamerica and is one of the most important areas because this explains the merge and develop of Mesoamerican cultures. Thanks to the vestiges they left, such as rural paintings, allows the understanding of the origin of diverse cultures as is Teotihuacan.
The meaning of Cuicuilco is places where the song and dances are made. In the main area, you can find the Great Circular Basement, but you also can find other remains near the ecological park. In this place have been found the earliest representation of the old god of fire. Some investigation also shows that in this place could start the first establishment of the calendar, based in the movement of the sun.
The route we did for Cuicuilco leads us to analyze it with the text reading class, especially with the chapters of Mijares. Mijares said that a structure has a specific meaning, but as time goes by, the meaning and context of the work changes. In the case of Cuicuilco, it was a sacred place, then it became a ruin by the volcanic explosion of the Xitle, and the nature became part of it. Over time, vestiges were found and now are part of our culture, and nowadays it is an ecological park where you can go for a walk among the vegetation and even has benches to rest.